You are listening to the SDSU Football Podcast, presented by the East Village Times, with your hosts Andre Hagverdian and Paul Garrison. Welcome, listeners, to the SDSU Football Podcast. I am Andre Hagverdian, and I'm joined by Paul Garrison, as always. Today's episode is another great one for you, featuring two interviews, one with a super senior San Diego State football player, and another new incoming member of the San Diego State 2022 football team that will be graduating high school shortly and will be joining the San Diego State football team in the late summer. Hope you guys enjoy it. Our first special guest today is super senior running back Chance Bell. Bell, in his first 4 years as a player on the San Diego State football team, has accumulated 1,187 rushing yards on 257 carries and 9 touchdowns, typically backing up great running backs at San Diego State, Jawan Washington and Greg Bell. Bell now will, in his 5th year as a player, 6th year in the program overall, will get his chance to be the lead back and starter for the San Diego State football team, and is relishing that opportunity. We want to thank Chance Bell for coming on the SDSU Football Podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I just want to say I really appreciate you guys having me on today.
You made the decision to coming back for another senior season. Why was it important for you to return to San Diego State?
I was kind of all over the place in terms of what I wanted to do, but when they extended the offer to me, it's something that I had to, seriously consider with my family and talk to God about and really think about. And ultimately, I made the decision to stay at San Diego State and take my 6th year because I want to just continue to play football. After college, I wanted the best shot at going to the league. I wanted the best shot at playing professional football in general. So I just thought it would be the smartest move for me and the best decision for me to come back, play another year, and get that the stats up a little bit.
So recently we've been putting out on social media these player cards, and we put one out on you. And Coach Horton commented that you were a 4.0 grad student. What are you studying?
So right now I'm in a grad school program for counseling with a focus in trauma and mental health care. School hasn't always been my best area, but I would say in the last few years, I really started taking it more serious just because I wanted to just thrive in all areas of my life, not just football, not just social, not just my family. I wanted to really take everything serious. So I had a lot of conversations with Coach Horton. Actually, he helped me get in the right headspace, and I could tell he was really proud that I was able to come back, get accepted into grad school, and then get the 4.0 for the first semester. And then I'm working towards getting a 4.0 for this semester as well. And we're coming to a wraps right here. So it's definitely a great feeling.
No, congratulations on all that, man. Why was it that you entered into that particular grad program? And are there things that you're thinking about whenever it is that football stops?
For me, mental health has always been something that I've held really high on my list of priorities, especially as an athlete. I just feel like it's really important for us to know our resources and know the things that we can do in order to make sure that we're in a healthy state of mind. Because a lot of physical reactions can happen if you don't have the right mental state of mind and right mental health. So I've always just carried that really high. And I feel like just growing up, with my childhood and some of the things that I went through, I feel like we all have our certain experiences, obviously. And, some of that comes with the trauma. And I feel like I've always been really good with dealing with that and coping with those things. So I think it was just something that I'm glad that there's more awareness around now. And I was really glad to be able to get accepted into this program. So not only to learn things about, obviously, mental health, but to be able to learn how to give back and to learn things about myself and the things that I went through so that I can become a better person.
So just, helping us, what is a trauma-informed football player? What does that look like?
It varies. It really does vary between your life experiences. For me in general, I would say I grew up and I went through some things. When I was just of 12 years of age, I lost one of my close friends to suicide. And that was something that was really hard for me to cope with, especially because I was dealing with some things at the time already. it really just varies between everybody's day-to-day lives. I mean, we don't really truly know what someone's going through unless they're speaking up about it. So that's why I'm really glad that there's a lot more emphasis on mental health and being able to open those conversations, being able to talk about it so that we're not just suppressing those things that we're going through.
No question. And, I don't know if it's completely related, but the coaching staff, they often talk about that their best recruiters are the players. The running backs this year bringing a great couple of kids coming in, Sheldon Canley, Lucky Sutton. What do you tell potential recruits about when they come on their visits about San Diego State and what the program's all about?
I mean, it's just entirely a great deal. I mean, obviously the location is great, the atmosphere on campus, the network, the connections that you can potentially make if you're out putting yourself out there day to day. And it's the football program, I feel like that just speaks for itself. I mean, obviously we have a lot of great athletics teams here, but for football in specific, I mean, the culture that we have here, the history that we have here, especially in the last, 8 to 10 years has really been stellar. And I feel like we really hold ourselves to a really high place in terms of the Mountain West competition. And even when we play teams out of our conference, for instance, like the Pac-12, we just set that standard of the type of team that we want to be. And I feel like it's not really hard to have these conversations with potential recruits because, I mean, again, it just speaks for itself. You kind of just sell the selling points that they're already seeing like every day.
Now we're in the middle of the off season. We went through phase 1 conditioning, phase 2 spring camp. The offense has a lot of new pieces to it. So how would you grade how the offense has performed so far through the first 2 phases?
I would definitely say there's always room for improvement. I think that we had a really great spring. I think we had a lot of great flashes of things that we could potentially be doing right and things that we can elevate on and build on coming towards fall camp and heading into season. I mean, even with the quarterback competition, obviously going up with the transfer that we just got with Braxton, and then the receiver room has always had its depth. Same with the running back room. I mean, I feel like we're just continuing that tradition pretty much all around for the offense. I think that Coach Heck is obviously getting settled into the offense, and I feel like it's showed. I feel like we do a lot of great things now, and it's not even necessarily that we changed a lot of things, but it's just the little additions to things to make it work better, or maybe a different type of audible on this play, and so to speak. So I feel like everything is just flowing naturally, a lot more organically, and that's showing in the production levels of what we're doing on offense. And I'm excited to just keep building on it and excited to see what my role is going to be like in that new offense.
As we head into like the summer portion of the off season, as one of the senior leaders, how are you going to help lead the team?
Vocally and leading by example. I mean, yeah, obviously you could sit there and you could say like, get things done right. You can be a vocal guy, but I've always kind of just prided myself on leading by example, just working really hard. Coach Horton always makes jokes to the whole team, really just, sometimes somebody just got better genetics, but that means you just got to work a little bit harder. It doesn't really matter, right? So I feel like that, again, that's just the culture. That's just the standard. And just reiterating that and making sure that the younger players know that that's the standard that we hold ourselves to. So just working really hard, knowing that at the end of the day, we're competing against each other, but it's also competing against yourself because you want to be the best version of yourself. And I feel like that's something that I really speak about a lot. And I feel like it shows with the running back room and the team in general.
You already mentioned him, man, but Aztec fans haven't had a chance to see Braxton Burmeister too much. What kind of QB is he? He
is a whole deal, a whole package. I mean, he could throw the ball, he could run the ball. He has great football IQ. He just really an athlete, and it's great to see him out there. I feel like it's very easy for a quarterback to kind of come into the program and get a little bit stunned with everything that's going on and all that's expected of him. I feel like he's had great confidence. I feel like he's getting to know the guys really well. I've been out there with the receivers running routes with him, and he's a really hard worker. And I think that's the biggest thing for me, just seeing that he is consistent and he wants to keep building on his productivity. So it's been really nice to see. And I feel like I'm excited to see him in fall camp as well.
And then, one of the things we've been talking to a couple people about is that in part of the culture of San Diego State is that the older players mentor the younger players, show them the ropes, what it means to be an Aztec. So could you give us a scouting report on Jalen Armstead and Cam Davis?
All right. So to start with Jalen Armstead, obviously one of our bigger backs, over 200 pounds. He's a downhill runner. But don't be fooled by that because he's definitely a guy that can make you miss in the open field. If he has that space to work with. Not a slow guy, even though he's a bigger running back, he's not slow. He can definitely pick up yards fast when he gets to running downhill. So I feel like he definitely has a lot of tools in his arsenal. And it's just about keeping his head in the playbook and improving on those things day to day and keeping that consistency. Cam Davis, also another great young running back, speedster, obviously a track guy. He made a lot of great plays throughout spring in the backfield and coming out the slot. So I feel like his role is going to definitely elevate a little bit coming towards this next season. And I'm excited to see that as well. Overall, it's been a thing where the running back room has just had that high level of competition. And I think it's great for all of us, whether you're a young guy or older guy, you're competing every day. And I feel like that just makes us all better.
We had your starting center, Alama Uluave, on the podcast recently. And, a lot of people have spoken. Coach Goff spoke about this, about how, it was vital for him to decide to also come back. What does he bring to the team and the offense in general?
Leadership, passion, enthusiasm. I mean, he's just football IQ. He's just a guy that that you can trust. Accountability for sure. And he demands it from the other linemen. Obviously, we have a little bit of a younger lineman coming into this season. So he's really been on top of it. He's really been trying to show them the ropes and making sure that he's holding everybody accountable so they can become the best version of themselves. And again, that's another guy that's going to lead vocally, but more so lead by example. He's never really making any mistakes. He's always on top of the playbook. He's always on top of the calls, everything that he needs to do. And he obviously has a huge role. So I think that they see that, and more than anything, whether he says anything about it or not, they can see that and try to adjust so that they can live up to those expectations. So he's just really a great leader for us, a true Aztec warrior. And I'm excited to have him up front, of course.
Now, the senior class got a chance to visit the new stadium recently. What were your thoughts on the Aztecs New Home?
Oh, man, give me chills walking into that stadium. I mean, it's insane. I mean, first of all, it was a lot bigger than I thought it would be. I mean, just driving past it on the highway while it's under construction, you kind of get an idea for it. But when you're really standing in there, it doesn't feel like, 35,000 seats. It really feels a lot bigger than that. And I think that was the biggest thing that stood out to me and a lot of the other guys. The student section was awesome. How they had it was like no seats. It's just like concrete seating. I thought that's awesome. It's going to be awesome to see the show there. We didn't get to see the locker room, unfortunately, but I think that's a good thing in terms of like when we first step into that locker room, even if it's on game day, it's going to be really exciting for us. And I'm just excited overall to be playing in that stadium. Obviously, we've technically been on the road for all of our home games, and it's a little bit of a bummer, even though, you come back from a win and then you get on the bus for another 2 hours just to drive home, sometimes 3 with the traffic. So I think it's going to be really great to have the fans out there, have our family and friends out there that, especially for the guys that live in San Diego. And it's just going to be a fun time all around. And I'm really looking forward to it.
From the outside, Coach Horton looks to be as good of a person, a human being, and a coach as you could ever possibly imagine. But just from your perspective, man, what is he like as a coach?
Coach Horton, that's my guy. I got a lot of love for Coach Horton. I mean, the biggest thing, because it's really easy for a guy to go to college and then obviously, with a coaching staff change and stuff like that, for them to be able to lose their coach, their position coach, and then have to rebuild that relationship. I never had to deal with that, fortunately. And I know a lot of guys can say that came to San Diego State because he's been here for a long time. And I think it really shows in his demeanor and his coaching style and his confidence and just the standard that he holds us to in the running back room. There's never any envy, any jealousy. Of course, everybody wants to be that guy. Everybody wants to be that star. But I think he really keeps us all level-headed in the sense of just coming from a place of love from himself and then that reciprocating down and us all wanting to support each other. So, I mean, I feel like I could really sit up here for a long time and tell you all the things that I really like about Coach Horton. He's a great guy, a great coach. And he really cares about you more than an athlete. And I think that's something that shows every day. And I'm really grateful for him, definitely.
Speaking of being a star, you've made it no secret. This is your year to shine, man. So what are you working on between now and the start of the season?
One big thing that I've been improving on recently is since I'm picking up weight, at the end of spring ball, I was a whopping 179, which isn't very heavy. They have me listed as 185 on the website and whatnot, but that was something that I really took personal and just where I want to head and where I want to go with my career. And so now I'm sitting at 192. So I picked up a good amount of weight. Yeah. And I think it's really good that I've been able to do that gradually so that, my body doesn't go into shock about it. And I think I put on muscle, which is really good. And I'm really working on explosive power. I'm doing a lot of plyometrics. I've been training with Jesse and also Tyrell Shavers. And we've been going to Alex Johnson's training facility, and we've been doing plyometrics. We've been doing a lot of explosive power stuff and just really get that leg power going so that when I run into contact, I'm a lot more confident. I'm a lot more physical, because even though that's my run style, I really want to improve on that. Like I mentioned earlier, I've been doing a lot of route running because I know that I'm going to be getting some catches out the backfield and then also be seen in the slot a little bit this upcoming season. So I'm really preparing for that as well. And overall, just everything that I do, I want to emphasize how it how it ties into football. And that's something that I really take personal, because everything that I do, I want to make sure that it's going to improve my game. And that's something I've been working at every day and I'm really passionate about. And I think it's going to show, and I think it's going to speak for itself more than anything.
You took a head start in answering our next question because it was about your size. Coach Horton describes your playing style as angry. You play bigger, but as you said, you're listed at 185, 5'10" on the website. Some might say that's not big enough, and you're looking to put more weight on. Is there an ideal playing size you're targeting for this upcoming season or for the next level?
Yes, sir. And I think, and I'm glad you asked me that, because I think it's a thing of, I think it's really easy for us to put limitations on ourselves, especially from other people's expectations. I feel like, especially coming into my career here at San Diego State, I was told by not just people here, but like everybody pretty much like, oh, you probably can't carry that weight with your frame. Like you probably can't carry that weight. You're not going to be used to it. You might have knee problems if you do that. And I just made it a point to prove really to myself, not really prove other people wrong, but prove really to myself that I can do anything that I set my mind to. So that comes with the weight gain and wanting to play. So to answer your question, I see myself playing at 195 to 200 pounds this season, which is going to be the heaviest I've ever played at. And I'm really excited for that. And I'm really excited to show the world that. And I feel like me putting on this weight is going to help me not have a running style that's detrimental to my body, so to speak. So, because obviously if I'm playing at 179, I'm playing at 182, 185, if I'm a physical runner, that might be a little detrimental to my body if I'm running into guys that are 220 pounds, 230 pounds, and so to speak. So I'm really confident in the weight that I'm putting on, and I'm really excited to see the future.
Yeah, we definitely look forward to seeing that. Our last football related question is about the passing game, right? And your involvement as the offense is moving more to a balanced attack. Do you see yourself having more of a role in the passing game? 100%.
I mean, it's something that I've already talked to the coaches about. I've talked to Coach Horton and Coach Heck about. Again, to kind of tie into what I said earlier, yeah, you're going to be seeing me catch routes more out the backfield, even in the slot position. And that's something I've been working at every day, improving my hands, improving my route running ability, coming out of my breaks and stuff like that. So to just be more natural when I get out there and it's really the lights are on and it's time to go.
All right, man. So we got some non-football related rapid fire questions for you. You ready?
All right,
man. What's your favorite food?
Favorite food? My go-to is always burgers. I love burgers.
What's the best burger spot?
I'm an In-N-Out guy.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you straight up, I'm an In-N-Out guy. I know we have a lot of guys from Texas, and they try to do the Whataburger versus In-N-Out. Nah, it's In-N-Out all the way, definitely.
And what does Coach Horton think?
He likes. I mean, he's a Texas guy as well, right. So he's kind of in the middle. I try to convince him to be an In-N-Out guy, but he talks about Whataburger a lot too. A lot of people talk about Hodad's. I've actually never been to Hodad's, so they're going to have it at the stadium too, but I'm going to have to go and check it out.
It's a spot. It's good stuff. What's your favorite movie or TV show?
Oh man, movie. I guess I'll have to go old school Blade. Growing up watching Blade, I probably watched that movie like 40 times. Yeah, it's a great movie.
Perfect. Musical artist or group?
I listen to a lot of Drake, Lil Durk. So it'll definitely have to be between them. I feel like they're both great artists, but more so leaning towards Drake. All
right. Who's your favorite professional athlete?
Man, that's not something I've been asked in a while. I really do like Saquon Barkley. I would love to see him out there more. Obviously, he's had the injuries that he's had to deal with. So I would have to say Saquon Barkley and just everything he comes with as a running back.
Nice. I thought you were going to say Greg Bell.
That's funny.
You can say that.
That's my guy. I like Greg. That's my guy.
What's a hobby, man? Something that you enjoy doing when you're not preparing to be the best football player you can be?
Catching up with my family. Like, it shouldn't be a hobby, but I just feel like I've really made it an emphasis to try to talk to my family more, especially as I'm getting older, and not take that for granted. I have really great people around me, and I try to just show love whenever I can and stuff like that. So besides that, though, I used to be a really big video game guy, not really so much anymore. But yeah, it's probably more so talking to my family.
That's awesome, man. That's beautiful.
Chance, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. We really enjoyed talking to you. And we definitely look forward to seeing you out there at the new stadium in September.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Have a good day. Thank you. Thank you again, Paul and Andre.
Our next special guest is Jimmy Cunningham, high school senior at Simi Valley High School, who has committed to play at San Diego State in 2022. Cunningham, who started playing football only in his junior year in high school, was able to set a school record of 10 sacks in his senior season while earning all-league, first team, all-county, and defensive MVP honors. We want to welcome Jimmy Cunningham to the podcast today. How are you doing today, Jimmy?
Hey, good. How you guys doing?
We're doing great. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So your first year playing high school football was during the COVID spring 2021 season. Up until then, you had only played basketball at Simi Valley High School. Spoke last month, you told me about how it was the football coach, Coach Benker, that saw you playing basketball and actually recommended to you and your family that you should try football. Can you tell us kind of how that story unfolded?
Yeah, so I was just playing basketball, and Coach Benker, the head football coach, he would run the score table for us. He knew my mom because my mom worked at the school, and then he was got in contact with her and said I should start playing football, and then here we are.
Is it common for the football coach to run the score table at basketball games?
Yeah, he usually does that. He just likes to get involved with the school and everything.
What was the transition like for you from not playing high school football to suddenly playing on the varsity team as a junior?
It was for sure a switch, but I mean, it was the same thing. It's like, for basketball, you obviously had to practice every day, work hard to get on the starting lineup and everything, and just had to apply it for football.
And you played, I think you mentioned to me, you played Pee Wee football growing up. So it wasn't like it was the first time you had ever played football, right?
Yeah, I played Pee Wee from maybe third grade to fifth grade.
That's still a huge change, man. Were you always wanting to be, a D1 athlete, have a college scholarship, and were you getting any offers or any, interest, things like that from the basketball side of things?
Yeah, no, I for sure always wanted to be D1, and obviously for the start of my high school career, I thought it was going to be basketball, but yeah, no, because when Banker was telling me I should come up for football was the end of my sophomore year, getting into my junior year, and then I haven't gotten anything for basketball, so I was like, might as well get football shot.
Okay, so I mean, and then here's the thing, man. You go there and you're trying to get interest from college. You're trying to do all that, but then of course it's the COVID season, right? And in California, that means that you're not playing in the fall. It means that you're playing that short, abbreviated season in the spring, when colleges around the nation already have their recruiting board and things of that nature already set, and you have no film because you haven't played. So tell us about, prior to the start of this past season, through that junior year, just the interest that you were getting and the buzz that you were getting from that short little time that you played.
I mean, I didn't even start until week 3 of that 5-week season. So, I mean, yeah, so I wasn't really getting any looks. And it wasn't really till probably, honestly, going to the camps, those summer camps after that COVID season, I went down to the UNLV camp. I went to Sac State, and that's where I got in contact with most of the coaches that I were recruiting me. And then also just on Twitter, I would be spamming coaches' DMs, trying to get some looks, get some eyes on my film.
When was it when you actually got, an offer from a school? Was it after your senior season or was it during the season?
Yeah, it was after my senior season, and I got that from a NAIA school, Benedictine.
And then, signing day came and went. You didn't sign with anybody. Why did you hold out from signing?
I mean, I wanted to play on the big stage for football. You know, I didn't want to go out across the country, you know, and have the same audience as a high school game. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to play under the big lights and everything.
Okay, but you make it sound so easy. I mean, if you're turning down, you know, scholarship offers, you also had one, I believe, to NAU, right?
Yeah.
So you make it sound super easy, but I guess you were confident, bet on yourself. Your patience pays off, man. Why did you ultimately choose the Aztecs?
I mean, that was it's a perfect fit, you know, 2.5 hours away from home, right next to the beach, great program, great school. You know, I mean, can't go wrong with San Diego, to be honest.
I mean, you make it sound so easy that you were just waiting for that bigger offer to play under the big lights. But in reality, you let go scholarships to good universities to be able to kind of bet on yourself. You just called San Diego State and San Diego the perfect place. And the reality is, if you had come in your freshman year, gotten a little bit of interest, and then throughout your career eventually ended up at SDSU, it's the perfect fit. But you didn't get there that way. And everything kind of came together all the way at the end. So what were your emotions that it all worked out the way it needed to, and it was that perfect fit?
I mean, yeah, obviously it was like, it was just crazy. It was unreal, you know, to get the call from Coach Deacon saying that they want to have me out there and on the team and everything. I mean, it was just what I've been dreaming. I've been waiting for.
Congratulations, man. But you talk about Coach Deacon, your primary recruiter. How would you characterize his involvement in you deciding to become an Aztec?
I mean, huge. He came out during the season. That was our first time meeting each other. And then just over the phone talking and everything. He gave me the virtual visit, which was really cool, and just getting me out there and showing me around the campus.
In high school, you played a defensive end, but you were mostly standing up at the end of the line. Have you talked to San Diego State coaches about if you'll be playing defensive line or maybe linebacker in college?
I don't know. I haven't really talked about the coaches with that, but I think that could be a possibility because I would also have to not put on as much weight, and I could just play at outside backer and come up on the line maybe.
Yeah, that's a good point about weight. When are you planning on getting to the campus? Have you figured that out? And what height and weight are you going to be at when you show up?
So July 6th is when I'm going to come out, and then I'm probably going to walk in there at 6'5", 215.
SDSU has a history of players of your size turning into great players. Their top 2 NFL draft picks this past season, Cameron Thomas, Daniel Bellinger, they were basically that size when they came into college, and were able to rework their bodies and become the specimen that the NFL was, salivating over. Does their success, SDSU's success with players like you, give you confidence to trust the process they're laying out for you?
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, seeing what they could do, with them, obviously, and getting them into the league, it's kind of like just got to put my head down, listen to the coaches, and hopefully one day that could be me.
Okay, but here's the thing, man. You said you wanted to play under the brightest lights. Not only are you going to get to do that, but you're opening up the newest stadium in college football. There's just not a lot of college football stadiums that open, period. You get to play in the newest one. What are your feelings about Snapdragon Stadium and being able to be part of that freshman class that gets to open that up?
It's amazing. I mean, obviously, that was a huge thing. Like, I've just been, even when right when I got that call from Coach Deacon, I was already on opening up Google and looking up images of the new stadium and everything. And it's just, I'm excited for that. I can't wait. Looks really nice.
What, San Diego State plays a very unorthodox defense, right? The 3-3-5. What do you know about, Coach Hoke, Coach Maddox, and the defense they play, and, what role you could fit in there?
I know that we're going to be stunting a lot, bringing up backers, dropping, if I put on the weight, I'll be a really good asset for that edge spot.
Just to give you a little bit of a foretaste of how they put on weight. We had Daniel Bellinger on a few times on the podcast, and he kind of gave us a little sneak preview into that. He said that he and Cam Thomas would wake up before 5 o'clock every morning to have a protein shake or to have a sandwich. And it was just like a daily thing to be able to get enough calories in addition to all the workouts and all of those things, man. So are you ready for that kind of grind and to be able to do what's necessary to make yourself a star?
Yeah, I can't wait for it. I mean, it's the stuff I've been dreaming of. Like, obviously, there's, when the lights turn on and then you're playing in the stadium and everything, but people don't realize all the work that goes behind it. And that's the stuff that I love.
We just had, it was Mother's Day. The Aztec, extended family. There's a lot of, mothers, fathers that are a big part of the program. That are very present at games and on social media. How are your parents like? How excited are they for you? And are we going to be seeing them at Snapdragon Stadium come fall?
Oh yeah, of course. My family's ecstatic for me. Like it's like I said earlier, just a dream come true, and they couldn't be happier for me, more proud, and they can't wait to get those tickets for my games and come sit and cheer me on.
Nice. Are you ready for some non-football related rapid fire questions?
Yeah.
What's your favorite food?
Ooh, steak.
How do you like your steak prepared?
Medium rare.
Any particular steakhouse?
Probably Outback.
What about your favorite movie or TV show?
TV show, The Office, for sure.
Ooh, I don't know if that's okay.
The Office is probably the most popular answer we've heard from all the players that we've interviewed. So
right, but weren't there quarterbacks who like that?
Yeah.
Two of the freshman quarterbacks, man. That was their show. I'm not sure that you guys are supposed to get along. I don't know how that works.
I'm sure they'll figure out a way.
No doubt.
What about favorite musical artist or group?
My favorite artist would probably have to be Gunna and Lil Baby, probably one of my two favorite rappers.
Well, unfortunately, if you've heard the news, I think Gunna is in some trouble.
Yeah, I did hear about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
The RICO charges.
Doesn't sound too good.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite professional athlete, either currently or when you're growing up?
Probably one of my biggest influence probably like Kobe Bryant. Because when I first got into high school and everything, and I was like looking how to like get better and everything, like I would just sit in my room and watch Kobe highlights all day, and all of his like workout videos and everything. So probably Kobe Bryant.
What position did you play? Are you forward?
I played a little bit of forward and a little bit of center.
What's outside of playing football and basketball, what's your favorite hobby?
Favorite hobby? Shoot, probably video games.
Any particular video game that's your favorite?
I like Call of Duty, Madden, of course.
What kind of Call of Duty player are you?
Like you mean like game mode?
I mean like are you able to like slide and jump and do all of the weird moves and all the things?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, you can. Okay, yeah. I'm the guy you kill. Thank you.
Oh yeah.
And then last one. What have you decided on a major at San Diego State?
I haven't really. I've got a kind of an idea of what I'm going to do, but I'm probably just going to go into a business major.
That's your rapid fire questions. You did great.
Sweet.
Solid interview, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for taking the time and joining us. Congratulations on heading to San Diego State. We look forward to seeing you in the fall.
Sweet. Thank you, guys.
Have a good one.
All right, thank you, too.
Those are two great interviews. One first with Chance Bell and also Jimmy Cunningham. Any main takeaways from those interviews? Starting with Chance Bell first.
I know you just asked me about both of those, but I'm actually going to go a different route. Great job on the Mother's Day episode. That was my favorite, and I thought it was just absolutely fantastic. The amount of, editing and all the things that you did with it, man, and just, that was your brainchild. You wanted to put it together, and I think we pulled it off. So kudos to that. I thought it was well received, and I just thought it was great. So thanks for that.
Yeah, it was fun.
But going on to these two players, I think they're fun that they get to be together on the same podcast, because I think you can see kind of a bookend of what you hope, right? I mean, Cunningham, Jimmy's coming in, and you hope that he can one day at his position give the kind of Aztec career that Chance Bell has given, So I think that they complemented each other really well. Their answers were that way, like accordingly, right? Like Jimmy was kind of unsure of what he's about to see. And Chance Bell has been around. He knows what it is. He knows what's in front of him. He knows this is his last chance. and he's doing everything that he could. So that would be my first kind of reaction. What about you?
Yeah, I think with Jimmy, the story of him just, starting to play football as a junior, and the story about the football coach doing the score clock, that's pretty crazy. You don't hear that story very often. But just his jump from his the shortened junior year to the senior year was massive in terms of production. He was a co-defensive MVP in his league. The sacks, the tackles for loss. I mean, it was crazy production for a guy who had played 5 high school football games before that season. He's coming in as a preferred walk-on, but we have success stories at San Diego State of walk-ons that have gotten scholarships and become all Mountain West players. And, the chances are there, the opportunities are there, and he's in the right coaching with the right coaching staff to utilize, the talents, the skills, the size to turn into a productive player.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. And I think it's another, just an insight into San Diego State definitely likes to copy themselves. They aren't necessarily trying to find out what works outside of in college football, though I'm sure that's part of the mix too, but they really want to see where have they been successful? Where have they found success? You can't not notice that he has the exact body type that Daniel Bellinger walked in with, that Cameron Thomas walked in with. And so they have, maybe not everybody in the country can't develop a 6'5", 215-pound athlete that doesn't really have a defined position. You're not really sure where he's going to play. But then all of a sudden he shows up and he's this kind of character kid. And I think you saw his motor in his huddle tapes and things like that. And so it's exciting. And he's definitely betting on himself. I mean, to let go of scholarship offers to be able to come down to San Diego State, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think also with Chance Bell, we had loaded up a question to ask him about, his size and his weight. And he got to it before we even had a chance to ask about how his main goal is to put on weight. And he's gone up to 192. His ideal playing weight is 195 to 200. He's ready for it. He knows his body. He's going to get more carries, right? I mean, this is his year. There's no Greg Bell. There's no Keegan Williams. So he knows he needs to be ready. I think he's up for the challenge, and putting on that weight shows that he's, thinking about the next step as well after his super senior year, potentially professionally and the NFL. So I think he's primed for a hell of a year.
Yeah, I think it's really an exciting thing, and he's shooting his shot. I mean, I think we are having this conversation about Donnell Pumphrey, and the NFL is we have our way of doing things. And if you don't fit our box and our mold, you are not going to get a shot. And if there's anybody in the history of college football who could have been a small back, who could have been given the ball 20 times a game, if anybody could have done that, it's Donnell Pumphrey. Chance Bell is trying to put himself into one of those boxes. And if he goes and becomes a 5'9", 205 pound, 195, if he becomes that kind of back, he suddenly becomes in that mold of what NFL backs can be, and they become comfortable with them and things of that nature. So the fact that he's going after that, I think, is really smart. And I think it really helps the Aztecs because, as you said, they're not going to have a guy who, if he doesn't put on weight, they're not going to have that big back, or your big back is going to be somebody who is really young, doesn't have a lot of carries. And maybe, Jalen Armstead has great potential, and he's going to be the guy who's going to be able to do that, but you just don't know. He's unproven. With Chance Bell's running style, his aggressive running style, plus added size, he could be a nightmare for teams, provided he doesn't lose any of the athleticism or the speed to be able to break off a longer run. So I thought that was pretty exciting. I also just think that, his comments about Coach Horton, another person who's just can't say enough good things about him. I think people can be proud that he's part of the coaching staff and that he was there. I think that it was very impressive the way he's talking about Braxton Burmeister and how polished he is, and that he's out with the receivers running routes. I think that's a really big thing, because we talked about how not just him, but any of the running backs that came into the game, the defense just didn't care about any other route that they were running other than a screen. And if those guys can become good, effective route runners, then it should open up the screen game, which should open up all the other stuff that they want to do with, kind of that hybrid running back kind of wide receiver slot position that they like using. So I thought that was really exciting. And then one final thing, I loved that he was honest about his struggles as a student, and that he was able to be celebrated by Coach Horton because he had a semester with a 4.0 and in graduate school. And I think that was a pretty neat moment.
One thing to add to that I took away from his interview was, you asked him why he was getting a graduate degree in counseling, talking about mental health, how that's been a big priority for him, especially for athletes, to know that they have the resources so they're in a healthy state of mind to play football, to play basketball, to play anything, or to do anything in life. And he kind of talked about how he had some trauma in his childhood that kind of helped him develop that, that desire to want to help others as well, just like people helped him. So I think it's definitely a very noble thing to do. And hopefully his counseling and career will be, 10 years away, because he'll be playing, football, but, we'll see. But if it's not, then he'll be ready to hit that and excel at that, just like he's excelling as a student currently and, on the football field.
Yeah. And then last thing for me, going back to that Mother's Day episode, the fact that he was saying, listen, this isn't my biological mom, who I call mom, but he says, I love you and I call you mom now. You're my mom. Get a little emotional. I mean, that is just a beautiful moment. So if you haven't had a chance, audience, to go back and listen to those comments, they're very special.
Yep, definitely agree there. That's going to do it for us. Hopefully you guys enjoyed 2 great interviews, and make sure you follow, subscribe, share, tell all your friends about the podcast, because this is episode 22 and it's just going to keep growing from there. So thank you guys for listening, and we'll talk next time. You are listening to the SDSU Football Podcast, presented by the East Village Times, with your hosts Andre Hagverdian and Paul Garrison.